Okie dokie. As a compulsive liar, I'm pretty familiar with the art of tricking people, which is what drew me to Parasite, a movie about liars, cheats, and absolute scum. Just like me, for real, for real. So who better than me to examine the con artists of Parasite? For some context, Parasite is a Korean movie about the Kims, a poor family struggling to make ends meet in their way below average basement apartment. Suddenly, they find themselves within the grasp of a unique opportunity, as the son Kim Kyu finds a job as an English tutor for the rich Park family, who only asks that Kyu is a university student, something that gets easily solved with some quick Photoshop and smooth talking. Thus, the dominoes begin to fall as, one by one, the Kim family creep their way in as employees, or better yet, parasites of the Park family. So there's three aspects of a good con that are used in this movie: picking your victim, keeping it simple, and selling the performance. Now, I'm sure that we've all seen phishing emails. If you don't know, they're messages impersonating someone to trick you out of your personal details, like passwords or the magic-free numbers on the back of your card. Leave those in the comments below. Most of the time, they're pretty easy to recognize. The email might look dodgy, it says it's from Microsoft, but the email says mitchell.something@gmail.com. The contents themselves don't look like they usually do, maybe the color is off or a logo is out of place. It doesn't refer to you by name, at best maybe a dear Mr. or Mrs., and it might even have a few spelling or grammatical errors in this writing. We've all seen these time and time again, and we all know to just delete them or report them to your email provider. So, why do they still exist when we all know what to look out for? Well, that's simply because they're sent out en masse. Hundreds to thousands to millions of these are distributed every day, and while you may be tech savvy, your parents or your parents' parents may look at this very same email and not think too much of it as they provide the necessary details to their local bank or provider. All you need is a few people to fall for, provide their bank details, and you've earned yourself a quick penny, or a few million of them. Crime does pay if you know who to target, and the Park family is a perfect example, or more specifically, the mother of the Park family. Young-gyo is pretty simple. We're told this right at the start when Min recommends Kyu to the Parks. She's not that good at doing simple chores, which tells us she's lived a mostly sheltered life, being spoiled by everyone around her. And while being surrounded by money is great, it does make her naive and susceptible to the manipulation of the Park family. When you look at the movie as a whole, the methods used to trick her are not all that elaborate. Just some smooth talking with minor know-how was enough to get half of the Kims within the walls of their estate. And that's where we start with most scams: simplicity and selling the performance. These two go hand in hand, so we'll go over them together. Going back to the phishing emails, they're not all that complicated. Just copy the company's email format as best you can, maybe create a fake website if you want to go the extra mile. It doesn't have to look amazing, it just needs to be good enough, so those select few won't think twice. That's exactly what we see when the first two family members win over Young-gyo. Since we've already talked about Kyu, Ki-young is able to get in by pretending to be an art student that can help tutor the son of the Parks. While Young-gyo is adamant about watching Ki-woo's teaching methods, Ki-young demands that she must teach him privately, kicking the mother out so she can sink her claws into the son. We don't actually see what she does to win over the rowdy young boy, and while that might seem as lazy writing, it's simply the director tricking the audience the same way that the Kims do for the Parks. If we keep the lies as simple as possible, people naturally fill in the blanks themselves. All you have to do is be a yes man once they've come to their own conclusions. We're as convinced as Young-gyo because she's able to sell the confidence of a dedicated tutor. And when we actually go back to Young-gyo, Ki-young sits down with her alone and explains how her son likes to draw quite a lot in this schizophrenia zone in the bottom right. Of course, this is all bullshit. Ki-young later states that she only did minor research on art theory, but packed with the information she extracted from the son about a childhood trauma, she's able to sell the idea that the poor lad is mentally unwell and she's the best one to help him. Young-gyo is very happy to just eat all of this up. She doesn't feel the need to research anything. A little bit of dramatic acting is able to get her into tears and everything is set. Of course, lies do get more complex for Mr. and Miss Kim, as they need to replace active employees, Ki-yoon leaving her panties in the car so they believe the current driver is using their vehicle to rev his engine, and they make up this entire spiel about the current caretaker having tuberculosis to have her fired. All of these lies could have easily been unraveled if the Parks had simply confronted the accused, but their strong pride stops them from making a scene, instead creating a bland reason to just let them go. Which is to the benefit of the Kims, laughing their way into the house of the Parks as the movie heads towards the tragedy that unfolds in the second half. And to wrap everything up, this whole video has just been me fucking with you. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm running off the top of my head. I don't know what makes a good or a bad con. But you fell for it, right? You're watching to the end of the video, you've fallen for the long con. Does that make me a con artist?